Welcome to The Conscious Cut. I'm your host, Hoiki Liu. This podcast is all about rethinking sustainability across fashion, lifestyle, and everyday practices. Through conversations with entrepreneurs, policymakers, educators, and changemakers in Hong Kong and beyond, we'll explore real solutions, from industry-wide policies to the small habits we can all adopt. Let's cut through the noise and create meaningful change together. Welcome back to The Conscious Cut. Today we have with us James Marlow-Smith from Green Hour Hong Kong. We're going to jump straight into it, and I'm going to ask James, where are you from, first of all?
From the UK.
Okay.
From Birmingham, born and raised.
Born and raised. So when did you come to Hong Kong, and why did you come to Hong Kong?
So I moved here. So I'll go back a little bit. So I graduated in 2024. Sorry, 2014.
It's real.
Yeah.
Real recent.
I aged terribly. No, 2014. And then I didn't know what to do afterwards. I studied theatre. So after studying drama, I wanted to be an actor. But then I was like, okay, it's very difficult. So what do I do? So I had a classmate who was teaching English in mainland China. So I lived in mainland China for a year. And then 2016, I decided to move to Hong Kong, and I taught drama. I still teach drama part-time. Okay. So I initially came here to be a drama teacher, and the plan was to stay for a year. And that was in 2016, and here I am today, almost 9 years later. So yeah.
I think the majority of the people that I've asked so far, most of them had the same idea as you. Like, I'm just going to stop by and experience Asia for a year or two, and ended up being in Hong Kong for like the next 10 years and more.
It's just, I don't know. At one point, I stayed here because I thought, okay, I'm not tired of this place. Yeah, I want to keep going. And now it's kind of at the point where I've been here so long that this just feels like my home. And when I go back to the UK, it doesn't feel right. Feels a little bit off.
Yeah,
so
like
now
something's missing, and
there's
a drawback to draw you back.
My friends are here, I think, I've built a life here, so.
Yeah, well, you've definitely built a life here because you've built Green Hour here. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about what you do at Green Hour, because that's how we met. I met you when I joined Bun Run with my kid, and he still loves to do it. We were talking about coming back, and let's talk a bit more about Bun Run and also what else you guys do at Green Hour.
Sure. I'll start with the Bun Run. So the Bun Run is basically a food redistribution project where we collect surplus food from bakeries, and hopefully soon we might be able to start getting vegetarian meals from a Hindu temple in Wan Chai. Do you know which one I'm on about? The really big one.
Wan Chai. Yes, the
Hindu temple that I know.
It's not the Sikh one, sorry.
No, I believe it's Hindu, or maybe it's Sikh.
Is it the white one?
Yeah,
it's the corner, right?
It's
Sikh. I think it's Sikh, yeah.
So basically the Bun Run started when, we got contacted by like a big bakery in Hong Kong. Am I allowed to mention brands?
Yes.
Okay, so Maxim's.
Yeah.
So Maxim's reached out to us, and they said, we see that you do plogging. We would like to combine, it didn't work out for very long, combine plogging and a food program at the same time. But I thought, okay, this isn't gonna make sense. It's not gonna work because of the food hygiene and everything.
Yeah.
We tried it once, didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of still doing like a running activity and the food thing. Actually, it started as a running thing.
Oh.
It was a running project where we had like 10, 15 bakeries all along Hong Kong Island, and each of these bakeries is probably about, I don't know, maybe 700 to like 700 meters to a kilometer apart. And they all close at different times.
Right.
So what we would do is we'd call them all and say, hey, have you got any surplus? And they say, yep. So we would go here at 7:30. We'd go to the next one at 8 o'clock, then 8:30. And we're just literally just like running all over the place.
Yeah. Filling
up big bags of, with bread. And then we'd go to like a partner in Shek Kip Mei, and then we'd drop everything off there. It's changed a lot since then. Mainly because the pandemic, because this partner we had in Shek Kip Mei, they sort of closed their doors to us. They said, we don't want to collect anything. So I thought, okay, I don't want to give up on this. So what can we do? We don't have an office. We don't have anywhere where we can store this stuff. So why don't we just collect it and then just distribute it the same evening? That way we don't have to worry about storing it. We can just give it straight out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's good for volunteers because volunteers can actually do the collection side and the distribution side in the same evening. It means in terms of scale, it can be a little bit smaller, and maybe sometimes volunteers might not have anything to collect, so it can be a little bit, up and down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's just a scalability thing, right?
Yeah.
If we get 20 more bakeries or 100 more bakeries, then it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, then there's also the scalability of having volunteers and service users, so on. But I mean, those things I think are the easier sides of the issue. I think finding the bakeries is the hardest one. So if there are any bakeries out there that are interested and have surplus food, just get in touch.
Yeah, because I mean, I do realize food waste is the number one. In terms of quantity, I like to say definitely it's the biggest amount of waste we have anywhere all over the world, actually. Even though there's people starving, food waste is still the number one waste. So we really do need to do something about that. Now, the way we do Bun Run now, where we're actually picking up the surplus goods at the same night and distributing them at the same night, it like for us as a volunteer and for my son who joins me on this distribution route, he has a great time. He feels really good about giving back to the community. And the people that we're giving it to, that's receiving these buns, they are usually cleaning workers. Often there are the cardboard nannies that the cardboard grannies that we see collecting cardboard off the streets. Occasionally it might be a security guard from obviously a relatively more rundown estate, things like that. And everyone that we've given it to has been so thankful.
And it's not just about the items of food that we're giving, because that's ultimately not like a huge amount. It can be maybe 2 or 3 items, maybe like a cake and some bread and things like that. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's also about building that connection with someone. And if you see some people on like a weekly basis, you get to build that connection with them. And even if you only see them once or twice, if they have every week different volunteers talking to them, especially for street cleaners, they don't really have many people to talk to. It can be quite a lonely job.
It is.
And people don't appreciate them. And I think if we can just take some time just to stand there and, just have a little chat with them. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're just giving them some food and having a conversation. But that's a lot to them.
It's also bringing the humanity back, right? So for my child, for example, there was one time where one of the cleaning ladies, she was so happy and so thankful. She's like, there's also a little kid here who's doing this. And she just wanted to chat with him. After he passed her the buns, he asked her to make her selection. Like, what would you like? What can I give you? After he gave it to her, you can tell she was so thankful and she really wanted to shake his hand. But she was also very worried that, my hands are not clean. They might be a bit wet from picking this up or that up. So her hands are literally like, like, oh, I want to touch you, but I shouldn't. Like, I'm not sure if I should. And my son just grabbed her hand and shook it. And said, in a very happy way, he's like, oh, I'm happy you got like what you want, and like what you got, like what I can give you here. I'm happy about that.
It's a nice way just to have a conversation and connect with someone.
Even for me at the time, after we walked away, I was just like, oh, like, I'm very proud that you just took her hand and shook it. I didn't want to give any instructions of what you guys should do. I didn't know how to react, honestly, at that time. I didn't know. I mean, I would love for my son to shake her hand, but at the same time, I didn't want him to be like, oh, I don't want you to touch me. I didn't know how he was going to react. But I realized from doing these walks, it's really opened up his mind and empathy, for him to realize they're just people like us. Yeah.
Honestly, like I see people littering and I think to myself, like, this to them, it's just dropping something on the floor and it's out of sight, out of mind. But like, it's so disrespectful to street cleaners because, I mean, yes, they still have to go and pick up the rubbish from the bins and stuff. And there's always going to be some trash, but just be a little bit more conscious, And I've seen cigarette butts inches, like meters from bins. And I think to myself, like, you just take a few more steps and you just do that one small thing. And actually, the thing I've noticed as well, which I really want to do something about, is trash in areas like where people are driving and they just throw it out the window. So like you say, like on the side of the road, you've got like two streets, one going one way, one going the other, and there's always that little barrier in the middle.
Yeah.
There's always like a huge buildup of trash there.
And the kind of trash
cleaners can't go
really
there.
Gross.
It's like it's not safe for them.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it also makes me wonder, because who do we expect to go out there and clean in danger, you know?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, the more trash there is, the more work we're giving to these cleaners. Many of them are in their, 60s, 70s, 80s. Some of them, I mean, all of them get paid. They don't get paid very well.
Yes.
And if they don't do a good enough job cleaning up after us, they're the ones that get the blame, not the people that are littering, even though it should be the other way around.
I mean, I think one of the things that we've been talking a lot on my podcast is the sense of responsibility too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people are starting to lose sight of their sense of responsibility. They make a very clear line of what they feel they're responsible for and what they're not. But they forget what they don't feel that they're responsible for, then who's responsible for? Someone else is responsible for it. I was talking to a group of kids yesterday, so I saw a lot of them had plastic bottle drinks, single-use bottles, and I just asked them, what do you guys do with these bottles when you're done? I wasn't asking to shame them or anything. I'm just asking to highlight how easy it is for you to recycle a plastic bottle, because usually the recycling is likely right next to the garbage bin. Yeah. It's just a choice of which hole of the container you're going to put it into. So why not put it in the one that makes a difference, right? And I'm just highlighting that because actually recycling facilities for things like plastic bottles, it's so easy. But for things like clothes, like nobody knows what to do with their clothes when it comes to the end of its days. Like if it's good enough, maybe you resell it, you donate it. But what if it's not even? What if it's so run down, the fabrics are fraying? You don't want to be disrespectful and give that to somebody when it's so used, right?
We've had a project before where we collected clothes to give to the homeless people during the winter period.
Yeah.
We've had moldy jackets, we've had stained T-shirts and everything like that. And I think it's one of those things. It's an out of sight, out of mind thing as well. It's like, well, I've already given it away. I've done something good,
and this is what I always call wishful thinking. Basically, wish donation, wish recycling. This is all wishful thinking. Actually, you haven't done enough.
Well, it's the same as well with people who think that they're recycling properly. They'll have something that's made of plastic, but they think, oh, well, it's just plastic. Plastic is plastic. Plastic can be recycled. There are so many different types of plastic. Some of them can, some of them can't. In Hong Kong, I mean, there are some plastics that can be recycled, probably more likely in, like maybe places like the US or places that have, well, anywhere other than Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is so small. We don't really have the facilities. I mean, most of our recycling
goes back
abroad.
To China. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to go back to the point about we were talking about people, the kids not knowing how to recycle or not being conscious of it. I think this is something that is very, very, it's a big problem in Hong Kong. And I don't want to name names, but we've even had like corporate activities where we've said again and again, please bring a reusable bottle, please bring a reusable bottle. And then people will turn up with like the small, little Bon Aqua bottles and stuff. And I think to myself, well, first of all, this is not enough for a 5-kilometer hike. You're going to be dehydrated.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's a very simple request. And I don't know, I don't want to feel like I'm shaming people over and over again.
Yeah.
But I think, it's a very easy thing to do. You just have a reusable bottle, put it in your bag, you go out.
And that's why I think it is so easy, but at the same time, it's something in the mindset that needs to change, right? I always say, buying drinks out of a convenience store, out of a plastic bottle, this was an education process. We were taught to do this. Like, these convenience stores with plastic bottle drinks, it didn't pop up because we wanted it. It popped up because someone wanted to do this as a business, and then we started buying into it because they educated us that this is a convenient, easy way to go, that we should all be more efficient with our life, and this is what we should do.
It's just like there are so many coffee stores, but people already automatically think of Starbucks. You think of fast food, you think of McDonald's, because it's just something it's
conditioned.
You're conditioned into thinking it like, I'm going to just go there, I'm going to go here. And you want to work somewhere, you think Starbucks. If you need a coffee shop, go to Starbucks, go to Pacific Coffee. Like it's just something I think it's a cultural thing. And I think they've done a really good job at it.
They have.
Yeah.
They have. And I want to say, like, globally, we've all been easily brainwashed. And, it is time for everyone to kind of, I like this woke culture. I like that people are digging a little deeper, looking a little further of what should really matter to you. Yeah. But okay, besides Bun Run, you were talking about the hikes. I want to get into the cleanups that you guys do too. So what cleanups do you do around in Hong Kong?
Well, the way I always say it is wherever there's trash, we'll go.
Okay.
Anywhere. So we do beach cleanups. So we do stuff on coastal areas. We do hiking cleanups. So we go along trails. And then we also do something called plogging, which is the one I mentioned earlier, which is like running and picking up trash. We do that in urban areas. We can do that here in Sampokong. We can do that in Wan Chai. We have one on Saturday in Tai Kok Choi. The next Saturday, 2 Saturdays later, so 2 weekends after, on the 28th, we have one in Shangwon.
That's great. Like, it's actually in the local cities, communities.
Yeah, so it's basically running, picking up trash. It's good for your physical well-being. It's good for your mental well-being, because most of the time when we do, we're in like nice areas. Not nice as in like well-to-do areas, but somewhere where there's some level of visual beauty. So like promenades and places like that. We like to run in areas where there's maybe something to see, because it's nice to have layers to what we do. So we're running, but we're also getting some, places where we can take some pictures. Maybe some people like Instagram.
You can actually appreciate the beauty around you, and then see the trash, and then realize you don't want this. Here, where it's such a beautiful space for you to, take your photos and enjoy the scenery. But
even in like places like this, like you could run along like the Chim Sha Choi promenade, and you might not think that there's a lot of trash in terms of like size, but volume in terms of like each individual item.
Lots of little things.
A lot of little things. So cigarette butts, maybe like drinks bottles, things like that. So many cigarette butts.
The only time the trash cleanups really made an impact on my son was actually during COVID times. It was after a typhoon, the tides brought all this garbage in, but what really made an impact on him that time was just the sheer amount of disposable mass.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm never using mask. Lots of us nowadays, we're spending money without thinking about the end product responsibility, which is what actually in the garment and the fashion industry we've been talking about, because clothes, like I said, there's nowhere for it to go at the end of the day. So who does that responsibility fall on? Who should it fall on, and where should it go, right?
You see those videos of like, I think it's like places like in Southeast Asia, like the mountains.
Yes. And then there's in Southeast Asia, in Chile, in Africa.
Like Central Africa.
There's so many parts of the world that's got these, clothing deserts already that it really can't go on like this. So I was just reminding the children, I was like, whatever environmental responsibility, and this doesn't go for just clothing, for everything that we do, whatever environmental responsibility that we are not paying for today, we're all paying for it going forward, in consequence.
Every single thing that you're buying has an end life, I guess.
Exactly.
And
I told them, yesterday was in Hong Kong, the hottest day in history for June. It got up to 38 degrees, 38.5 degrees at the mountaintop.
Yeah.
It's the hottest it's ever been. This is a very clear sign of global warming. So I told the kids that, maybe you guys wouldn't even realize this yet, but you are already suffering from what we didn't pay for in historical times. It's already been paid for. We're already suffering from this climate change. Like, it's June. It shouldn't be this hot in Hong Kong, at least, and it's only going to get worse if we don't take action now.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like there's like an exact connection between what we're doing and like preventing climate change. But I think if we can encourage people to be sort of more conscious as consumers, then hopefully we can encourage less things to be produced. Because taking the trash from the beaches and stuff is good for protecting the local environment and the local creatures and stuff. But in terms of the warming up of the planet, I mean, maybe to the degree that trash is affecting the ocean, I guess you could argue that trash affecting the ocean and killing species means that the ocean is slowly, quote unquote, dying. And if the ocean is suffering, then it means that it's absorbing less oxygen, because the ocean. The oceans absorb more oxygen, carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
They take in more carbon than the Amazon rainforest. So maybe you could argue that what we do does help with climate change.
Also, I want to say that you guys raise awareness is the main thing.
Yeah. We need to make sure that people buy less and are more conscious consumers, because if you're a conscious consumer and you're buying less, that means that those who are producing it will produce less. And the amount of emissions that are coming out from all of these things being produced, especially nowadays, I mean, Western countries have jumped on this, we've got Taobao.
Yeah.
And people have been using Taobao for, quite a long time in Hong Kong and in mainland China. But now that, people are becoming more aware of it in Western countries, there's like Temu and Shein and things like that. More and more people are buying these like super cheap items which are being produced. And people think, oh, it's cheap because of the cheap labor in China. It's not just because of that. It's because of the lax...
of the
environmental policy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you see it, like companies in China, they'll produce things and then all of the chemicals and the waste just gets poured into the rivers.
I think it's getting better now. It depends on where you are. So, but yeah, like I would have to say, I pretty much know, like the factories start making things for the really cheap markets.
Don't trust them, I'd say.
No, like there's regulation in China, but like any other country, it's a huge place. If there's people that's going to try to jump through loopholes, there's probably ways to do it one or way or the other.
Yeah.
Mainly that, if we're talking about policy-wise, and this is where it stands, because policy-wise, even though I'll have to say the China government, I can see them doing a lot on the environmental front for the country, but that's very much on the government end. For example, if you look on a satellite map now, China looks very green compared to 10, 20 years ago. But it's because they're planting so many trees. But the policies for the businesses, it's not quite there yet.
Yeah. Well, I think going back to the trees...
I want to say mainly for the policies is for the environmental stuff. Even though, because they were very forward in the Paris Agreement, the Basel Agreement, China was like one of the ones that said they're going to do all this. And I can say firsthand, I've had factories in the main city zones where China doesn't want it anymore because they want to change this area into a more green area. I had to leave basically within the month. It was an instant cut. So the difference there is when they want to make a change on something, it can happen very fast. You might not even have time to adapt to it. I like to say for people who are forward-thinking as running a business in China, they need to be forward-thinking so they don't just suddenly get shut down when the government catches them. Like they might not even be catching you for doing the wrong thing. It's just you're not in the right area at the right time, and you've got some wastewater issues or whatever, and this is not the type of industry we want in this area. So if you don't want to be stuck in that, you need to think forward, because they are changing, and eventually.
But I've seen videos from people sharing things on maybe like Douyin and stuff like that, and they're calling out factories in their area that have been polluting rivers.
That's what I mean by it depends on which area you're in. Yeah.
This was in Guangzhou.
So if you're in a first tier city, because even if in the cities they'll have the outskirts and their main internal city, right? So this internal city, they're going to make it as clean as possible. Usually you find those factories are slightly towards the outskirts in more rural areas where the local governments haven't cracked down on them as tough as they should,
Which is a real shame. And this is the thing, like I think because of the scale of how many factories there are that are breaking the rules, it really is like unprecedented.
And I also want to say it's also often we think it's the younger generation that's shopping on Shein, and it is true because a lot of kids haven't figured out quite what they want to look like yet, what I want to dress in. And unfortunately, secondhand fashion hasn't taken off quite as fast as someone like Shein. Both are cheap. Both are full of fashion clothes treasures for you to find. But one is making products that you can only wear twice, 2-3 times. One is a timeless product. You can wear it and you can probably resell it if you want. But a lot of kids haven't gotten quite to that yet. But with that said, what I'm trying to state here is it's not just children that's the problem that's buying Shin. A lot of the older generations are the ones that shopping off Temu and Taobao. And you know why? I spoke to my dad about this morning. He wanted to buy a discounted coffee. You know, like, I'm going to get this coffee today because they're on discount. I'm like, is that a really good coffee? It's like, no. I'm like, but we have coffee at home. Like, we have great coffee at home. You have great coffee at home.
People are so absorbed, like, taken in by cheap.
Yeah.
I see, like, discount, 50% off, this. Even big companies, I think I saw an image recently. It was Walmart in the US, and the caption was saying something like, you know, all of these companies talk about their sustainability goals, and at the same time they're selling all of these products at such a discounted, cheap price. And it's like, I think it was like swimming. Those things when you go swimming, not a noodle, but like the float.
Yes.
And yeah, I think to myself, like, but this is the thing, companies can get away with it because instead of saying we will do this, they say we aim to do this by 2030.
Not everybody can get away.
By 2050.
So I was highlighting to the children yesterday, actually, then you won't find this in mainstream news. That's why most people don't see it. But actually, just to search online, you'll find Adidas at the beginning of April, I believe it was April 2nd, April 3rd in Germany. They got sued by an NGO for basically greenwashing. And the NGO won. So Germany had banned Adidas from advertising anything about carbon neutrality, you know, going green.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say that because there's no evidence and there's no proof.
Yeah.
And there's no suggestion in anything that you're doing company-wise that shows us that you're actually trying to move towards this goal, besides using this as a you know, an angle to do more sales.
I think even in Hong Kong, there's greenwashing. I mean, definitely. There's a lot of greenwashing in Hong Kong.
I think more governments and more policymakers need to really take that stand and be like, you can't just, you know, blatantly tell lies to push more sales, especially when it's totally, like you said, it's 100% in opposing directions of what you claim that you're going to be doing.
For us, we have a lot of like companies that join us for like corporate activities, which I really enjoy because it's a nice way to, well, I like meeting new people. What we do is really good for like team building and stuff. This is not like a shameless plug, I promise.
Yeah.
But I like doing it. But I think when we get that sort of initial contact with a company and they say we're looking to do some sort of corporate social responsibility program, like an activity or something, what do you guys do? And we say what we do. And then you can hear them sort of like, they'll respond and they say like, oh, can we just do it for this little, you know, like they want to cut the amount of time, or they want to do it for like, you know, they want to basically go take some pictures and then leave. And I think companies like that, I try and either stay clear of them as much as I can, or just try to explain to them like, look, what we do is not just a publicity stunt for you guys. What we want to do is we want to educate people. We want us and our events to be a platform for people to learn not just about what the problems are, but how they can fix it, what they can do maybe as a company within their organization. So many companies say that they have, you know, they recycle. They don't recycle.
Yeah.
I've spoken to, like, we've had so many corporate events and stuff, and there are always like people within the companies who will say like, actually, we don't do this, or we don't do that, or we could do this more, we could do that better. And I think to myself, like, you know, maybe I can just go in and actually just sit down with them and make like a little action plan for them, because I think it would help. But some companies, you know, I mean, credit where credit's due. You know, some companies have been amazing. Like the communication between us and them is amazing. When they get involved in our activities, they get stuck in. Because I mean, you know, we do a lot of cleanup activities that are in the heat, in the summer. You know, it's not easy work.
No.
But we still make it fun. We make it, you know, an enjoyable event. Usually we finish by going to like, and sometimes, you know, maybe go to a bar or something. Yeah. And it's always nice because companies will like have their little sort of get together afterwards. And sometimes they'll ask me if I want to join, which means free drinks.
Which is nice.
Which is nice, yeah. And it's nice because then I get to sort of connect with them after the event to sort of learn a bit more about what they thought before and what they thought after. And for those people who do bring plastic bottles and stuff, like I said, you know, which it does happen, I think it's just a good way for them to sort of make that connection between this is the problem and this is how I'm contributing to it. And then, you know, breaking that sort of cycle of me contributing to it. Because I think, to be honest, okay, fine. Things like Pocari Sweat, things like that, if you're feeling, you know, dehydrated, get a bottle if you really, you need one or something like that. Or, sometimes, I've been in this situation where I haven't been fully prepared, and I'm in like an area where there isn't really anything to buy that's like plastic free. So I might buy a sandwich or something, and you can't avoid it. It's completely it's not completely unavoidable.
Yeah.
But at least water, you can just bring a reusable bottle. There are water fountains everywhere.
Yeah.
You can go into a restaurant, ask them to fill up their water bottle and stuff. Go into a Starbucks or a coffee, any coffee shop, and just say, can I get ice water? And they'll do it.
I think this is a habit. The problem part with the participants that's bringing the plastic bottle is it didn't even cross their mind that they can do that.
Even after being reminded a few times.
Yes.
But I think it's just
being on the cleanup probably made a bigger impact on them.
Yeah, because you see just how bad it can be. Like I think the most we've collected in one beach cleanup was 750 kilograms.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Usually it's between maybe like 80 to 150. Usually,
700 is really.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
and that was in Sheko, and the funniest thing was not funny actually. It's quite depressing. The same area, we did 2 cleanups within a month and a half, and we collected just over 1.2 tons in that one area.
And that's already a government beach with...
No, it's not a government beach. It's it's like a little... So you've got Sheko, the main beach.
Right.
You've got like the back area. And then there's like a little rocky sort of area where people sometimes go like over there to like go like maybe like kayaking or like do the paddle boarding and stuff.
Right. And that's why you've started kayak cleanups, because you're going where the cleaners can't go, right?
Exactly. And it's fun.
And it's fun.
It's really fun.
Sure, it's fun.
We did one recently in Saikung, and we've got another one on the 22nd of June.
Okay. Yes.
You're welcome to join.
Yes, I'd love to bring my kids.
Definitely. It's kid friendly.
Yeah.
We do it if what we do is we have those like 2 people kayaks. The reason being is because you can put more trash on the kayaks, but also for people who are not so confident, you can have one person at the front who's like the experienced rower, and one person at the back just basically taking it easy and looking like they're doing. So the kayaking event, the most recent one we did, the person who was with me, amazing person, don't get me wrong, like she's really committed to the cause. Yeah. But I was kayaking at the front, and this person, I was like...
Was she kayaking at one side?
I stopped for a while, and I was just thinking, okay, I'll just stop and see what happens. We weren't moving. But
I had one time where I had a friend in the back who only kayaked on one side, and so we kept spinning.
I think that was what was happening with this as well. But to be fair, we managed to get to where we needed to. And it was nice because we obviously have so many different kayaks, and we're all racing to see who... Yeah. Well, some people are racing, some people are taking it easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went from Saikung, we went to a beach called Lapsap Tau.
Oh, wow. What a name.
Yeah. And only a little bit of Lapsap.
Okay.
It's not really that Lapsap.
Yeah. So in English, that would be garbage bay. Trash bay.
Or rubbish bay, if you're British. So we went there, and then we probably collected about 2 bags full. Oh. And then we went to another island, and from there we filled up maybe, I think, 8 bags.
Because I was going to say, 2 bags is not too bad.
Yeah. It was 60...
the 8 on the next part,
It was just under 70 kilograms when we finished. And what else? We went to another island. We didn't do any trash picking up there because I was worried that with the number of people, we wouldn't be able to carry it all back.
Yeah.
Although in hindsight, I think we could have. And then we went from there to another place. So we went to 4 different locations. And there's like a little rocky area. There's like a little... It's meant to be a sandbar, but it's just rocks.
Yeah.
But we went there, and it was really nice. We took some photos at the lighthouse, walked around a little bit, and it was just a perfect day. Yeah. Like, it was a little bit overcast, so it wasn't sunny. It wasn't super hot. But yeah, and then we finished, and then we went to grab some food afterwards. It's nice. Like, you can just make a day of it.
Yeah.
And so I want to start doing those more and more. We've just applied for some government funding for that.
Great.
So we can hopefully start to do that on like a regular basis. Yeah. But the project is targeted towards working with domestic helpers, basically.
Oh, okay.
So the plan is every other weekend we will have a kayaking event,
Right.
provided that we get the funding, we can do it. Because I mean, renting them and everything.
Yeah, because exactly, I was gonna say at the end of the day, transportation costs, all of this needs to be factored in somehow, right? Yeah.
Well,
I think people
can
forget
sponsor
that
as
with
well.
NGOs is. It's great that sometimes we physically, it's actually not sometimes, it's always great for us to physically go out and do something because that's where you get the awareness and the impact. But at the same time, the donations is just as important often because you need people to run the operation.
People donate their time and that's amazing, but we need people to donate their money as well.
Yes.
And for me, I've always been very uncomfortable asking for money because it's like,
you know, this is so mean probably on my part, but I always like to say, like, after our trash cleanup, sort the trash and take pictures of where it's from and ask those companies for the end product responsibility.
They should do.
Yeah.
But then this is the thing. Once you buy the product, they will just argue that it's on the consumers.
Yeah.
You know, it's on the consumer to deal with the trash because they have it all on the packaging, right? Please recycle responsibly.
And bottle recycling, like I said, it's already as easy as it can get. Yeah.
Which is why I don't understand why most of the trash that we find is stuff that, if it was clean, if it wasn't like, you know, contaminated by all of the, you know, like the stuff in the ocean and everything, or had been there for so long, that we could recycle it.
Yeah.
Plastic bottles, styrofoam, things like that.
The only thing that's not is cigarette butts, probably, right? Can we recycle cigarette butts?
This is something I've really wanted to do for a long time.
Yeah.
But I need some help with it. Like, I don't have the scientific background. Cigarette butts are made of cellulose acetate.
Yes, it's polyester still, right?
It's basically, you could hypothetically purify it, remove the chemicals, and then just turn it into fiber.
Yeah.
And you can make it into bags, you can make it into clothes, you can make it into whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean,
Hong Kong doesn't have the
idea still seems gross with the tar and everyone's, but 100% it is fibers, yes.
Yeah, and
you can clean it if you do it.
I mean, to be honest, the only thing is, I think in Hong Kong it would be difficult because the facilities and the rentals and everything for that would be so expensive.
Yeah, well, would definitely have to be a project that's with probably the Greater Bay Area. Like the facilities will need to be in the Greater Bay Area where the collection can be out of Hong Kong, of course, you know, the organization, yes.
Yeah, but the problem is with that, there's different jurisdictions.
We need government policymakers to jump in and help us.
Yeah, you can't shift cigarette butts that are covered in, you know, filled with toxins and, you know, all these different chemicals.
You can't even import it. No. Yeah. Actually, my son's school, there was one time where we just cleaned up the area around the school.
Yeah. That's what we do sometimes.
And the amount of cigarette butts absolutely turned the kids off. They were like, why are so many people smoking? And it made me feel like, I'm like, yes, because my son's never going to have a cigarette after this.
And the funniest thing is as well, not funny. The interesting thing is you can see all the different brands and you can actually see like which brands, you know, are the most popular and stuff. And yeah, I think one thing that's holding cigarette recycling back, I think, in Hong Kong, if we wanted to do it, is the amount that are like flavored. You know, the ones with the little cookie things inside.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, ultimately, you could just take the entire cigarette butt if you wanted to, throw it in with the paper and everything, just grind it down, and then just like, and then purify it that way. Those little balls inside, that's kind of like affecting the process.
Okay,
I would say to some degree.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert. If there's anybody who's watching, who watches this, who would love to get involved, because I think, I mean. But I mean, to be honest, even like the first thing that we could do, and one thing I really want to do, like a project that I'm hoping to get started, is having more tactfully placed cigarette bins. Because this is the thing, like, what do we have in Hong Kong? We've got some of those bins which, you know, people can put them in, but for every one of those, there's probably like 5 or 6 bins where it's just the tiny little one. Yeah. And for every one of those, or every like sort of 10 of those, there's like another 20 which are not suitable for cigarettes. Yeah. And
even the ones that has that on top, you often find people throwing different types of trash in it. So it's not just cigarette butts. And then sometimes you see, like, I've seen people just, you know, maybe they're from a shop by the street, and the garbage can is just near outside the shop. Though occasional, I've seen like shopkeepers come out and just pour water onto the top because people throw so much garbage in it, and then somebody else throws a cigarette, and then it's like, smoky and it's gross. Yeah.
And also like the heavy metals as well. Like if we are filling trash bags with cigarette butts and they're not being properly treated and they're going to landfill, like all of that is just adding to like all those heavy metals will be just leaching into the ground, which is just not good for the local environment, really. But yeah, I mean, cigarettes are terrible. I honestly, I don't know why we have so many bans. I mean, I don't support vaping, but we've got, these new government bans on vaping, and yet at the same time, it's okay to smoke cigarettes.
It's not who's powerful. I'm always saying
cigarette lobbies have been around for a much longer time, and I think this is the thing. It's easier to regulate with cigarettes. It's not as easy to regulate with electronic cigarettes. Yeah. So that's why they would rather just have like the traditional cigarettes. People make mistakes, but if you adapt, or if you become like, I mean, like I haven't always been eco-conscious.
Yes, no, not
because I mean, honestly, even just before I started Green Hour, I'd never done any charity work.
Yes, I was gonna say, how did you? Let's jump back to that. I totally almost missed that question. How did you even start Green Hour? And before that, why did you want to give back to society? Like, what was that?
It was honestly, it was just like that. Like, so I think prior to then, the only volunteering I had ever done, I joined a running sort of like a little mini marathon. I think I ran like 5 kilometers, and it was like raising money for like leukemia research or something like that, because my then lecturer at university, his youngest daughter had leukemia.
Okay.
So I raised some funds for that, and that was the only volunteering I had done prior to Green Hour.
Okay.
And then it was like 2017, it was like New Year's Eve, and I was with my friend, and we were just having a few drinks and talking about what we wanted to do in the new year. And I just thought, okay, I want to do something when I go back to Hong Kong, because this was when I was in the UK visiting family. And I came back to Hong Kong. I joined a few different volunteering events. I did a couple of like different activities. A couple of them were like beach cleanups and stuff. And actually the thing that really set me off was we joined this event with a charity. I won't name names, which will become apparent as to why. So they did this big event. I think it was like 100 people. We had people from like the European Chamber of Commerce for Hong Kong and Macau. Big event, big party afterwards. But then after the event had finished, all of the volunteers, well, not all, but most of the volunteers were like having like their own little meals and picnics and stuff with single-use knives and forks, plastic, like the gloves to eat, and things like this. And I thought, there's such a huge disconnect that I thought, I want to do this. But having worked as a teacher for a few years already, I thought I can hopefully get this message across better. And yeah, so I just thought I'd give it a try. And I can't remember our first event, actually. I don't remember when it was. I think it was May 2018, and it went well, I guess, because I'm still doing it. And then we started doing the plogging in like September 2018, and the plogging really took off because it was so plogging it comes from a Swedish term, which is plocka upp, which means to pick up.
Yeah.
And that's the PL, and then the ogging is jogging.
Right.
So picking up litter and jogging. That started around 2017, 2016 in like Sweden and some other places, and it became very popular in 2018. And I just saw it on my Facebook feed, and I thought, why not try it in Hong Kong? The first event, we only had one person turn up, and it was okay. And actually, that guy he joined quite a lot of times. I haven't seen him for a while. I think, I'm gonna have to. I want to get back in touch with him because he joined almost every event for a while. I think until the pandemic.
Okay.
Then our volunteer audience changed a lot. I think because we stopped for a couple of months or maybe like half a year, we didn't really have a lot. So it sort of died down.
Right.
We had like a new core volunteer group. But I mean, we've still got some people who've been there since the beginning. But yeah, I just wanted to do something, and I liked meeting new people. I still like meeting new people. I think it's nice. Most of my friends I've met through Green Hour. Like I have, some really good friends because of it. In fact, my birthday is on Thursday, tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. So my birthday's tomorrow, and one of my friends I know because she joined a volunteering event, and we didn't know each other that well the first time we met. Prior to that, we didn't know each other, but we didn't get to know each other that much. But then she was one of the volunteers who joined for our booth at the Coldplay class.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we got to know each other quite well then. And then she joined the kayaking event recently. And so we're going to go for some drinks together tomorrow with her boyfriend and a few other people. So it's nice.
Nice.
I feel like I've built a good community of people. And honestly, my favorite thing is that there are people who join and they meet other people, and then they go off and hang out together themselves. Yeah. So I'm helping people to build friendships, which I'm really proud of.
It's also a great way to get a community that has the same passion for the same things to come together. So you all, I don't have to explain to you about sustainability anymore. And kind of makes a difference if you just go and do it, right?
Yeah.
It's like what you said at the beginning. There are companies that join and they just want picture ops.
Yeah.
You go to certain events where you feel this like they're doing something great, and at the end of the day, there's this huge disconnect and you don't understand why. I've gone to those things too. I was at a round table at Italy. I was just gonna say I was in round table Italy last year. It was a sustainable round table where we're discussing about sustainability, and in Italy everyone drinks out of plastic. Nobody drinks tap water for some reason, even though like we buy Italian water, but they get the waters in a bottle. But when
my grandmother's from Italy.
Yeah.
We don't drink it from the tap either.
Yeah, it's like unheard of for some reason, right? But then we're at this.
There's a lot of distrust. Just like Hong Kong tap water is drinkable.
Yes.
But people don't think that it's okay to drink because it's just their perception.
Yeah.
But actually, most modern buildings in Hong Kong from like 1995 onwards, any of those buildings. 1995 is considered modern.
Yeah.
Most of those buildings, the water is completely fine to drink from as long as you run the tap for a while. But sorry, carry on.
No, I'm just saying, like, even if you add a filter, right?
Yeah.
And I would assume if I can add a filter to my filter in Hong Kong and then get filtered water and just, if I need boil it, I should be able to do the same in Italy. But I was at this round table, and this entire Italy trip, I've never seen a single Italian drink from tap water. Everyone drinks from a bottle. But what I think I was most shocked was when we were here to sit down to discuss about sustainability and what we should do about it. In front of each participant, there was a bottle of water, but not a glass bottle, a plastic bottle of water.
And that surprises me because San Pellegrino is a very famous Italian brand, and they're all in glass bottles.
Exactly. So we got a plastic bottle of water, and then next to that plastic bottle of water, we got a little plastic cup. Right? And you're like, that's the kind of disconnect that is like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I even...
People will just argue because you can recycle it, so it's okay.
But I'm sure, why are we even having this discussion if this most basic bottom line hasn't even been considered? Yeah, which is kind of crazy, but...
People talk so much about you can recycle something, but instead of recycling, you could just refuse it in the first place. And then
that's the thing. First thing is refuse.
Recycling something still takes, energy
and power.
Yeah.
And also, I straight up just asked, I said, well... Given you need to give us a bottle of water, I'll give you that. But it could have been a glass bottle. It's not. Then why the plastic cup though? If I already need to drink out of plastic, I must as well drink out of the plastic bottle. Why would you give me an extra plastic cup and it's like a dingy, flimsy cup? Makes no sense. But so something else that you were saying earlier that caught my attention, and I want to go back to it, is the Coldplay concert.
Okay.
I know you guys got a booth at the Coldplay concert. That's super fun. Can you tell us more about it? What happened there? How did you get the booth? And how was it? How were the attendants receiving the booth?
Well, basically, I got a message. So there's a charity called Global Citizen, and Coldplay is, I guess, like a member. Like, basically, they have big celebrities who are global citizens.
Right.
And I guess maybe Chris Martin and the rest of Coldplay, I saw them 3 times, and I should know their names by now. I think one's called Johnny, one's called Guy, and the other one I forget the name.
I listened to the music, but
Yeah.
I have to tell you, like, I was like, oh, I'll pass on a concert. I'm sure you have enough volunteers. That's what I said, right? But now that I realize how green and what a sustainable message they're carrying across, I'm becoming more of a fan.
Yeah, they've got such good music. I didn't listen to
I've
it.
always liked the music, but I didn't think anything more than, I'll listen to it every now and then.
But yeah, so they reached out Global Citizen and they said, oh, we're reaching out to charities in Hong Kong. We have 2 spaces available to hold a booth. Tell us a bit about yourselves. So I just told them and they were like, yep, cool. We'll pick you guys. And I was like, okay, cool. That's great. So we got picked and we had a booth there for the 4 days and we had a few different activities there. First of all, we had face painting. So
to draw the crowd.
Yeah, and that got a little bit out of control on the first 2 days because we had a huge row of people, and for us, we wanted to try to connect more with like the Hong Kong audience because we want people who can join us as volunteers. But there were people from all over, and we sort of adapted very quickly. And we were like, well, it's fine. We can get people to subscribe to our newsletter and stuff. And
just get the message out is always a good thing too.
The biggest difficulty was when we had people from the mainland who don't have Instagram and only have like a QQ email, and so it was very difficult because I thought, well, we don't really, there's no way we can, we don't have much of a presence in mainland China, but it was nice because we got to connect with different people, and I think it was nice to talk to people from different backgrounds. We met people from like Central Asia, India, Australia. There were some people from the UK because they couldn't get tickets in London, so they traveled to Hong Kong.
I didn't know Hong Kong was already hard to get tickets from what I heard. So
very not as hard as London, even though London's got like 10 dates. But yeah, so we had a booth there. We did a couple of activities. We just sort of shared a little bit about who we were. Had lots of nice conversations. The face painting was nice because as someone's having their face painted, you can talk a little bit about the charity because they can't go anywhere.
No, they're stuck.
And the more elaborate the face paint is, the longer you can talk to them. So so that was fun. We did some activities. We did like a little thing where, so it's like, those like basketball toss things. So we had something similar, but we had like a little basket, and they had like a litter picker, and people had to like try and throw some trash into it. And if they did it, they get like a little badge and stuff. My favorite part of it, to be honest, was seeing Coldplay live. No, actually, no, I say that. My favorite part was being with the volunteers because we got to connect, which was really nice. I think if I saw Coldplay 3 times just by myself, I wouldn't enjoy it. But being with them was nice, and each evening was a different experience because we were with different people. And I honestly, like, it's so nice to see how much people will go above and beyond as well, not just because they're getting to see Coldplay, but like after the Coldplay thing, a lot of the volunteers that joined and we've, formed a connection, they're still willing to help. Some people will say like if I just reach out and say, oh, I need help with this or I need help with that, they'll be like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that.
Right.
And it's nice to feel that, like people have faith in what we do, people believe in what we do, which is nice because sometimes I don't really have full confidence in what we're doing. And
every now and then we'll get a little burnt out, right? Like
definitely.
Especially on days where you have Bun Run surplus, but there's no volunteers. You kind of just like, oh, this is a little bit discouraging, and I'm sure we'll all feel that. But I hope like the whole Coldplay experience will get the awareness of Green Hour out there to generate more volunteers to come in.
Yeah, I think we managed to get a lot of people interested. So far, we haven't had any, I mean, I don't think so, any volunteers who were at the Coldplay concert who are joining because they saw us there. But it's still early days.
Yes, and hopefully the awareness is slowly seeping in. How, for the audience who are also curious if they want to join or they might want to start their own thing, first of all, how would they join Green Hour if they want to join?
So all of our events are on our website. So you can go to www.greenhourhk.com. We also post everything. We share all the information on our Instagram page, which is Green Hour HK. We do have a WhatsApp community as well, so people can just directly join, and then everything's also shared in there. I think we've got about 530 people just in the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
So that's good. You know, every day I'll post something, or maybe every 2 or 3 days I'll just like share, oh, we've got an event. I think in the next 5-6 weeks, we've got about, maybe the next 4 or so weeks, we've got like 5 or 6 events, some plogging activities. We've got a beach cleanup. We've got a trail cleanup. We're doing a beach cleanup in Macau on the 29th of June.
Are you guys also in Macau, or is it like a Hong Kong NGO going to Macau to do?
We're just going to go to Macau and just do a little bit there. Just have a little day trip, go there, do some sightseeing, pick up some trash, and then maybe go for some foods, and then...
It's a good experiment, community building, giving back to society all
we just want
go.
Honestly, like, I want to make sure that what we do is not just about doing a beach cleanup. I want it to be more than that. I want it to be more than just picking up trash, because you can do that by yourself if you wanted to. Why join us? So the reason why I think people should join us is because, well, I think we're quite nice people. Our team are quite nice. Our volunteers are good. And our core volunteers, the ones who join very regularly, they're very friendly people. And I think, maybe I'm biased because, I just like them. I think and most of our volunteers, not most, all of our volunteers are lovely. And we have good volunteer retention as well. We've got people who join and then they'll join again and again and again. So I think I just want it to be more and more engaging and more fun. And I want to be more adventurous as well. So we've got the kayaking stuff. In the future, we want to do more things like go take a junk boat, go out. So that's probably the plan for like maybe October time. We'll take a big junk boat. We'll get like maybe like 40, 50 people. Right. Head out, go to like a beach, clean that beach up, have a little party, go back. So it's like, for me, I think we want to just have an event and then have some added value. So, for example, there's an organization called it's the Hong Kong Birdwatching Association. We've recently reached out to them, and hopefully we can create like a project together where we can do a trail cleanup and do bird watching at the same time. So it's always like a cleanup plus something. So
that's great. So beyond just having the everyday activities that we've already known, we're adding more activities. So your volunteers not only get to they're not becoming only environmentally aware or socially aware. It's even opening up the world of enjoyment of things that you can do.
And it's so good for your physical well-being and your mental well-being. Being out in nature, but also doing something that is, it is quite a physically intense activity. Hiking, is good for your legs. Beach cleanups, or any cleanup actually, is good for your arms because you're carrying the trash. The plogging, we're going running, the kayaking, all these things. It is kind of a little bit of a fitness thing.
It's a fitness thing, and I also think like we probably won't think about this or relate this naturally, but it's also very much for like your mental clarity of just mental awareness of what's actually happening around you, right? And being aware that you can find a balance in life. Like you can have fun and do things that's good for the world all at the same time. You don't have to have fun and enjoyment at the cost of our environment.
And I think some people, for me, I would be fine just picking up trash on my own at the beach. Like, I'm okay with that because I have no shame, I guess.
I have to tell my son to stop doing that.
But some people are scared of doing it on their own. So it's a way for them to do something that they want to do, but maybe they don't feel like they have the confidence to do it on their own. So yeah. And I think, for us, our name is Green Hour, and we would love if we could encourage people just to take an hour out of their week or an hour out of their month just to do something small. It could be like you're walking home from work, or you're commuting from work. Just take a small bag and just fill it up. Once that bag's full, you're done. You can do small actions. And if 100 people do something small, like, it's not small anymore, it's huge. And so for us, it's a good way for us to, our events are a good way for people to get that hour or two in without feeling maybe a little bit conscious about doing it. Because I mean, for me,
and if it becomes more normalized, right?
Yeah.
Then more people start doing it regularly, and more people start seeing others doing it, then the stigma will be lifted. Yeah.
That's why I like doing plogging, because it's in like an urban area. Everyone sees what we're doing. You know, it's very, very obvious what we're doing because we're running, we're picking up rubbish, and
I will hope it makes the people that's just what maybe they haven't taken a part yet, but just seeing what you're doing will be impactful enough for them to be more mindful about what they do with their garbage. Like, should they litter for somebody else to pick it up for them? You know, like,
you know, the building where I live, there's no waste management.
Oh,
it's one of those, like, you know,
older
Tonglao, like, yeah.
Yes.
So where I live, I asked the guy before I moved in, where do I put my rubbish? He said, he literally said, just put it outside on the floor. And I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So
does somebody pick it up from the building? No. Okay.
And sometimes
so that makes no sense.
The building, like, literally on the stairwell.
Yeah.
So I
this is
get
your own home.
Exactly.
So, like, who do you expect to take it up for you?
It was an apple. Like, someone had eaten an apple and left it on the handrail on the thing. It's only now and then. Oh, it really annoys me.
Yeah.
I usually just kind of pick it all up and do it myself, which I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
But But this is the thing, right? If you do it, if you clean up after someone, then they will think, well, it's fine for me to do it because someone else is cleaning it up. But then if you leave it, then you're just suffering as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine how Hong Kong would look if all the street cleaners just stopped for a week. Just imagine.
So that's one of the things also I teach the children to be very respectful to the cleaners, because they're already doing a job that a lot of people don't want to do, you know? So, gosh, be respectful to the person who's helping you out doing what you don't want to do, right?
And in the hot weather, I know I don't condone plastic bottles, but if it's a hot day like it was yesterday, and you see street cleaners, just give them a bottle of
exactly,
or a Kari sweat or a tea. I know, like, it's not the most eco-friendly thing, but in terms of, like, from a human perspective,
yes, I think sometimes you need to take a balance in life, right? Like, to see, nobody's 100%. That's why I say we can't expect everybody to be green all the time, to be making the right decisions every moment of their life. Like, we're humans, you know, but at the same time, just try to find a better balance. Yeah.
Or fruit. If you have fruit, give fruit to street cleaners. That's always good. Keeps very hydrating.
Yes.
A couple of oranges.
And they're always happy to get something, and they feel appreciated, because the human aspect's been missing.
I remember New Year's Day this year, I was walking towards Welcome, and I saw these cleaning ladies, and I thought to myself, you know, like, they're working on New Year's Day at like 9 a.m. in the morning. I thought, okay, I'm going to go and get some oranges for them. I bought some oranges. As I was walking back, I couldn't see them anywhere. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, you're fast.
Yeah. But, I just really appreciate that they were actually cleaning up, like, not the street, but, like, in the bush areas and stuff. Like, because that's where most of the trash is. And usually it gets ignored.
Yeah.
So, or at least it gets left until it's built up so much. But I mean, it's not sightly. It's very unsightly, and I think if you see trash there, people are more inclined to do the same thing.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
somebody else treated this as a trash can. Why shouldn't I? Kind of attitude. Instead of why did somebody treat us as a trash can? Let's not do that. Let me pick this up so nobody else is going to do that.
Yeah.
How does one start an NGO if they would like to start?
To be honest, it's actually quite easy. If you have something that you're working on and you've built up, I guess, like a portfolio, or like you've got experience in it, and you can show, this is what I've done. The first thing you've got to obviously set up a company. Once you've got your companies, for non-profits, it's limited by guarantee. So we made the mistake when we first started. We started a company which was limited by shares because we were going to go down the route of setting up as a social enterprise.
Yeah.
But in the end, we went down the non-profit route, which they both have their pros and cons. As a non-profit, you are more likely to get people willing to make donations to your cause because you're a charity.
Right.
But if you're a social enterprise, there's a lot more funding opportunities. It's because you kind of consider like a small, medium enterprise.
Right.
So they have their pros and cons, because if you're for profit as opposed to non-profit, you get a lot more benefits in certain things. There are a lot of for example, Hang Lung Properties,
Right.
who we have as a corporate partner, they have a program where they will give spaces to people for free if they're a for-profit, but we don't get to take advantage of that. Honestly, that's the paperwork side of things is the easiest. I think the hardest is running a nonprofit. Like once you've got Section 88, because there's a lot of stuff that you have to continue to do to show that you are basically running as a charity, and you've got to provide all the annual returns and the audits and stuff like that. It's basically like running a normal company.
Okay.
But the only difference is, even if you're not earning anything, like if you haven't started getting any donations, or like if you open a charity and you have a charity Section 88 and then you don't do anything, you still need to submit your annual return and have an audit and stuff, which, I mean, if you're just starting out, these are just added funds that you have to deal with. But I mean, to be honest, it's like a few thousand maybe at most, so it's okay, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. For us as an organization, we rely on companies to make a substantial sort of contribution, because that helps us to grow. We can do these public activities on a regular basis, but we can't make them bigger and better without their support, company support. So yeah, and actually, I mean, because we're providing a service, it's technically not even a donation. So
because, I mean, if you think about it, I take a cleanup, for example. At the end of the day, we've picked up, as volunteers, you've picked up the trash, you've put it together in bags. Now, who's going to take those 20 bags away, right? Like, and where are you going to bring it? How are you going to sort it? Like, there's still work at the end of the day, after our end of the day kind of thing. Yeah.
As an event organizer, you have to be so like, I mean,
patient.
Patient is true. I would say you have to be very, you're like an MC, or you're like a, like, I mean, I work as a teacher as well. Like, I work with kids. There's a lot of similarity sometimes between working with kids and working with adults. I think people think that because they're a grown up, that like
they listen better, and it's not true.
But we'll give out the gloves and the litter pickers, and people will start walking off, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, guys, hold on. One thing about these events I really like when it comes to working with companies is that the hierarchy has gone.
Yeah.
You see people who are like, they say like you've got like a CEO or something, and then you've got someone who's like, like maybe just
a junior assistant,
like a junior assistant or something. But that person gets really stuck in and will like push the CEO or push the head, the head of members of the company to like really go for it. And like you can just see that they just banter and they have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can start working with more organizations and make more of a difference. And fingers crossed we get this funding as well.
Yes.
Because we really want to do more kayaking events, and I want to do more to work with domestic workers, because the volunteers that we have, the ones who join who have domestic workers in Hong Kong, mostly from the Philippines or Indonesia, they put in so much work. They really get stuck in. And I honestly, I admire it, and I want to give back to them. So if we can have a project that's completely free for them to join.
I have another guest that's going to be coming on my podcast that's very focused on building communities. One of the things he does is on Sundays, he gives back to the Filipino helper community by teaching them free exercise classes.
Okay.
I need to connect you guys. No, it's Avi. Yeah, from us. But anyways, I'll need to connect you guys so your groups can do something together.
I should put you in touch with Walter as well. He does this thing called G Class.
Okay.
And it's like fitness. It's like a what's it called? Like HIIT training for domestic workers.
Yeah. And so that's why I think, these kind of conversations are so great, because building communities is also very important, especially in a tight space in Hong Kong, where if you really want to make something happen, you do need a community support. Yeah.
Just like I was saying to you, like prior to when we were talking about so like boat sales, like ship sales are like a really big problem. Once they're finished, people just discard them. Yeah. But we can reuse them, we can repurpose them. I don't have the skills for that. Yeah. I know people who do have the skills, but maybe they don't have the facilities, but like
I do.
Yourself. Yeah. So we can come together and hopefully we can start making some sale tote bags.
Yes.
And then we can
And then hopefully that can go into profits and proceeds for Green Hour or whatever.
Beautiful bags as well.
Great.
Big, beautiful bags.
Yes.
just off the back of Donald Trump's big beautiful bill. But yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today. I think we've covered quite a bit, so it's been a great talk. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you for having me.